Okay, so I finished unwrapping my body, so let's take a look at that. I'll show you guys some of the things I've done here. So I haven't packed it all yet. I wanted to leave that for this video. But let's take a look here at my character and some of the things I've done. Um, so my hands are all separated out. The seams are on either side. If I really wanted to get nitpicky and try and get this to be super professional, I would stitch up the outside of this hand and make sure that seam isn't there with the top and the bottom of the hands. For our purposes, I think it's okay, but that's kind of, usually you want to eliminate as many seams as you can. For my feet, I did a very similar thing. I did the top here. Let me just select that. So I did the top of the foot as one piece. I did the seam along the side. I probably could have even done a little lower to try and hide that. The legs as well, same kind of thing. I managed to just get a seam on the inside for them, and the outsides will be nice and clean. Same with the pants. I really wanted those to have very little seams, so they just have one on the inside of their leg and along the back side here, and then they cut off at the pants, which the texturing and whatnot will probably do a pretty good job covering that up. And then the belt is all separated out too. He has its own unwrap and all that, and I really made sure that these little inside pieces were attached to the pants and the body. And that's pretty much it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to just unhide everything, and I'm going to attach all the pieces of the body together, and then stitch them back up. So one of the things I haven't done yet is unwrap these buckles. So let's kind of take a look at what happens when we attach all this stuff back. So I just go into Edit Poly, hit Attach, just reattach my armor, my belt, and that there. So reapply an unwrap on there, open up the editor, and let's take a look at what we have here. So this is still my belt buckle. I'm going to spend some time cleaning that up as well, and then this is my other belt buckle there. So I can do different things. I could just unwrap one and then paste it over there if I really wanted to. I'm probably just going to unwrap them separately for that. So I've unwrapped the two buckles here, and everything is pretty much ready to go. So what we're going to do now is the same thing we did for the head. We're just going to have to pack all these different elements into our square here. So with nothing selected, go into your unwrap here and select this guy here as Pack Custom, just under Arrange Elements. And what that'll do is it'll just generally pack them really poorly, but it'll scale them all to the real world scales, which is nice, so you won't have to really worry about that. If you want to help max out with this a little bit, it'll do a slightly better job for you. You can turn on Rotate, try that again, it'll do a little better job, and you can turn this padding down and it'll put them a little closer together. You can try some of these other options too. It'll try and do a better job for you. It never really does a great job, so I usually just move it to the side and then have to manually do it anyways. But it's usually a good kind of start, and definitely helps with the scale. So let's go back here and we'll just select piece by piece. If you hold Control, you can rotate things with a snap and move them back in. So I'm going to try and kind of rotate them so they're facing the proper way. So we'll start with the chest here. Maybe we'll do that in the center. Do the arms here as well. Do the other arm on the other side. You don't necessarily have to put them together like this, but I kind of like it. It helps me understand the model in Photoshop if I ever need to go in there and retouch up some things. So we got the pants here. Now we'll see how those fit best there. What else we got? We got the belt. Belt's kind of a bad unwrap, but I think it'll look okay. I would definitely, maybe spend some time straightening it out, typically. Alright, so we got that. We got, what else we got here? We got the shoulder pads, or the armor here. Let's put that in there. We got the other chest belts. We can just put those somewhere else here as well, front and the back. We got the legs. If you ever forget what's upside down, you could always just select the face and see, oh, that's on the bottom, so that's actually the other way around. If you ever want to rotate quickly, there's these utilities here just to snap with 45-degree angles and whatnot. All right, there we go. This is the back of my chest here. I can just put that off to the side. And we got our feet. Feet can kind of go wherever. Try and just squeeze them in here, not take up too much room. Still generally close to, each other and where they should be. There we go, do a couple armor pieces as well. Parts under my feet, they can just go wherever. Armor piece, probably try and squeeze them in here. Now, I'm not scaling around any of my pieces because I don't want to throw off the scale for them. If I had any kind of geo that was tucked underneath somewhere that didn't need a lot of resolution, I could scale that down. But for the most part, you want to keep things the actual scale they are and have a nice even resolution across your model. So hands are a little tricky here. Let's try and find a good place for them. And then if you do want to scale, like let's say at this point, oh, that's top left, that's top right. I'm probably just going to try and put my hands all together. If you do ever want to scale things like into the square, usually what I do is I'll scale all of it, and then just kind of try and do something like that. Try and use up as much space as I can, even if I put these hands over here. Right, that way I know exactly how much space I got left over, and I can kind of play around with that a little bit more. Hard to know how this stuff fits sometimes without it actually being in place. And remember, leave yourself space, plenty of space around each piece of the mesh. Don't have overlaps like that. Don't be too close to the edge as well. Don't do anything like right up close like that. Give yourself some breathing space. Your model will need it. Otherwise, when you bake and you texture, sometimes you won't have enough pixels to actually differentiate between the two sides, and you'll get some color bleeding across different areas, and that'll just be a mess. So you definitely don't want that. Sometimes you gotta just move your elements around. I'm gonna need a lot more bigger space for my hands, so I'm gonna move this belt piece over here because it's nice and thin, so it'll fit in there. I'm gonna try and position all my hands in this one area if I can. If not, I might have to scale things back down and get them to fit in there. A lot of this part of the unwrapping process is just trial and error. You just gotta kind of get in there and see what works best, and see if you can make things fit. Alright, there we go. Throw the armor over here. I might actually just move this belt down here. And throw the hand over there. And then I could probably move this armor up here as well. Alright, what we got left? I think these are just the buckles. So I could probably just put them all down here somewhere. Sometimes I just like to move all these things closer together just so I don't have to go as far to find them. Alright, there we go. If you feel you have a lot of free space like this and it's not really, you think you could do a better job, then by all means try and fill up that space. You don't want to be wasting any of that. We'll need we'll need as much resolution as we can get out of this guy. So sometimes it's good to undo some of your stuff and spend the time to do it right, just because your character will look better for it. So nothing wrong with redoing some of this this packing. There we go. So I like to leave this one corner free. That way I can scale right from that corner. And then do something like that. There we go. Let's see if I can fit this stuff in better. Go. At least the armor pieces are nice and close together now too. Throw the belt here. Try and throw the legs over here too. And then we gotta try and fit these guys in this little square there. These guys I can fit pretty much anywhere, so I just move them out. There we go, no problem. So that was good. We got, it didn't seem like a lot, but we probably got, an extra, like 10, 15 pixels across for our dude, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you got a detailed character packed into a small space, that could really impact the resolution of your character and the quality of the final bake. So that's that. There we go. So we have our full character nicely packed in there. You take a look, all the squares are nicely even sized. They don't seem like they have a lot of stretching too, which is nice. And we're going to be ready for our bake really soon. So if I haven't explained it before, why you have to pack things this way, basically every part of your mesh needs its own unique space on the square. If you have overlaps, if this is the back of, or if this is your arm and it's supposed to be green with like muscle tone across here, and let's say this is your belt and it's here and it needs to be brown, those two things can't share space because you need unique color space for each of those. So we need to spend the time and pack these things in here as best as we can, and we go from there. So that'll be that. Next tutorial we will be baking out our character from the high poly to the low.